take a bath.
Okay, babe. Go for it.
The gang from American Pie is back for American Reunion, so I busted out my American flag shirt. How you doing, everybody? And welcome back once again to my favorite website, realscreenreviews.com. I'm, of course, movie critic Nick Iacobucci, happily joined by my returning critic, the lovely Debbie D'Angelo. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
And our next review is American Reunion. This opened in worldwide release, I believe, on April 6th, 2012, and it reunites the original gang from the first three American Pie films. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to my guest critic to tell us a little bit about American Reunion. I know it's a pretty layered story.
I think you just explained it all. The cast from the American Pie movies, they get together because they're having a class reunion, and they decide to get together a few days before the reunion to reminisce, which of course turns into fraternity-like hijinks.
Right. Good. That's a good way of putting it. So, well, I always try and guess whether or not you like this movie. I'm going to say you didn't like this movie. It's
what I expected from the movie.
Okay.
I have seen the previous movies, and going into it, I figured it was going to be like the previous movies.
Right.
And because of that, I would say, yeah, I liked it, only because it's exactly what I expected.
So it was everything that you expected, and really no surprises.
Much. I didn't really expect much.
You know, I'll tell you, right off the bat, I'm a big fan of the original trilogy. I thought that the first three movies didn't really lose any steam with the characters, but I thought this movie was the weakest of all the four films. Just like the Scream movies or even the Spy Kids movies, they waited a long time and came out with this fourth part in the series. And for me, this felt like a lot of times like a Saturday Night Live 5-minute skit here and there. And I always felt like when I watched the first trilogy that there's always some underlying like heart and feeling that went with them, and that seemed kind of missing in this movie.
Yeah, it almost seemed like, although there was a theme, even from the title, it seemed to not really have a theme. It kind of wandered directionlessly.
Right. There was other things too that I had a few issues with, like, you know, Mina Savare, Tara Reid, Allison Hannigan, all have become very credible actresses. They're all wasted. I mean, Mina Savare has like a few lines. That's the Oz, the really big dude. That's his girlfriend.
Yes, I know.
You know, she is wasted. I mean, Allison Hannigan, I think, was great on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's on a hit TV show now. Like I said, just a few lines here and there, and like you said, I think it really left no room except for fraternity pranks and hijinks.
Eugene Levy rocks.
Okay, yeah.
I love him. He's my favorite. He's always been my favorite, and he really makes the movie.
And I think he does make the movie, and I'm not cutting you off, am I?
No.
Okay.
And of course, when's that ever stopped you?
I thought he was actually the best part of this movie for one reason only, and that was because there's the one scene where he's talking with, well, there's a couple scenes when he's talking with Jim, but those are the only parts of this movie that really have a lot of sentiment and feeling, and not that the movie's not funny, because I did laugh through it, but it was just a notch down on the ladder as opposed to...
My major problem with the movie, do you know where I'm going with this one? Full frontal male nudity. Okay, I turned to my husband and said, was this rated X? Did I miss it? Now, I'm no prude. Okay, personally, I don't have a problem with it, but it was rather shocking in this movie.
Well, I thought it was actually kind of funny.
And if kids were in the movie, funny's one thing, but full frontal male nudity?
Well, I guess it is rated R, you know what I mean?
R? That's X.
Well, they're trying to push the envelope.
What's the difference between X and R?
Well, you know, it didn't bother me as much, I guess, as it bothered you. I had more cinematic issues with it than I did with male nudity issues with the movie. So,
I guess I'd have to say I was just shocked. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they were going to go there, and I just didn't think it was appropriate. Well,
you can throw all the female nudity at me that you want, and I'll gladly take any of that. I'm never going to complain about it. It's never going to offend me.
How much full frontal female nudity do you get?
Not a whole lot,
no,
actually.
I mean, that was graphic.
Okay. Well, with the exception of that, was there anything else that really like stuck out?
It was funny. You know, there were funny parts. It's not a bad movie.
No.
When you look at it in comparison with the other ones, like
correct.
It's consistent.
Right.
It's consistent. So if you go to the movie thinking that's what you want to see, you're going to like the movie.
Well, as with the last one, I don't think we can really say anything more about this. So what is Debbie's real screen review of American Reunion?
2.
2 stars?
2 hearts.
2 hearts, excuse me. Two hearts out of 4. And I'm going to say I'm leaning a little bit more with this one that I liked it just a little bit more. I did laugh. I think I enjoyed just seeing the gang back together again, all the actors come together again. I thought that was actually kind of neat, and I know that
It was nice seeing them. And there were a couple of those guys that got really good looking.
Well, I'm not going to say that either, but Tara Reid and Mina Savare and Allison, they're all still really beautiful, just as, you know, they always downplayed Allison Hannigan's looks. Like, she's a really beautiful girl, and they made her look dorky and geeky as the band geek in the movies, but she's a very beautiful lady.
Yeah.
And
so how many stars?
I'm going to say 2.5. I'm going to say I liked it a little bit more than you. I think if you're really a hardcore fan of the American Pie franchise, that you're really going to like this. And if you're,
so you're only giving this a half a star less than Mirror Mirror?
I guess when you put it that way, I guess I could put this in the 2 range.
Don't let me sway you.
No, I guess when you put it that way, but I'm going to say I am a big fan of the series. I'm going to.
You must have really liked the full frontal male nudity.
No,
so it kicked it up.
I don't think that kicked it up a notch. So, but I'm going to say if you're a big fan of the series, you're going to like this movie, and if you're not a big fan of the series, that I would tell you to steer clear because you're probably going to be disappointed with the end result.
And they do refer to some of the previous movies, so the history and the humor I think go hand in hand.
But I like Jim and I like his antics and I like Stiffler and the guys, and it was cool seeing them. But Debbie, thank you so much for being here. And she's going to say middle of the road with 2 hearts. I'm going to say 2.5 stars. This one's go either way. You know, it's like you've been warned, so I would take that as you will. And remember, people, we're not always right, but only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
American